Good morning from sacred space at Titania's realm. The time is 9:49 a.m. on the 11th of December 2024. Creeping up to Christmas and Hanukkah. Are you getting excited, those of you who vibe with that jibe? I'm sure you are. And there's no harm in delighting in holidays and the magic that we create for our children, especially if those of you who have children and grandchildren to create magic for. Of course, children are, their own magic. I miss having little ones around, to be honest. It's kind of ridiculous given how peaceful it is without the constant screaming and fighting, tearing each other's hair and running amok. But even that, you even learn to miss that. Oh, but on a happy note, it's raining today. Still rained all night, and I'm looking out at my neighbour's tree across the road. And there's one solitary, massive, big magnolia bloom. It's one of those gem, I think they're called gem magnolias. So it's not a traditional magnolia. It's what's the word? A newfangled crossbred thing, but it's only got the one bloom on it at the moment. Anyway, from here it looks very pretty, and you just have to delight in what is around us. My dahlia is holding on. It hasn't grown much more, but it's holding its sacred space, and it struggles in the heat, sort of wilts, and I think, oh, I'm going to lose it, but it's had so much rain, it's picked up again. Anyway, I sat here and I thought, what stories shall I read to you today, from what part of the world? I was going to continue on with the Russian folk stories because I like them. They're kind of sweet and have much valuable wisdom entrenched in them, as all folk stories. But a thought form popped into my head, and I hesitate because it's probably my mother, because it's coming up to Christmas, and she was rather fond of Christmas, or rather fond of ruining Christmas for everyone. But anyway, never mind. She wasn't always bad. She had moments when she could be quite delightful and magical too. So we have to give credit where it's due. It's hard to give narcissistic psychopaths any fucking credit, but look, she did have some delightful things, and one of her charms was she was a real witch who delighted in magic, and like me, loved a good story and loved language, loved art and literature. We're all like that. All of her progeny, my sister, my half-sister, my daughters, her daughter, probably little Ava, who I was forbidden to meet out of just sheer fucking spite, which is ridiculous when you think about it. Since I live in Australia, I was only going to want to go for a weekend, meet the baby. I was treated like some kind of evil witch stepmother that might come and put a curse on the child. Maybe they were right. Maybe they were scared that the child would be hammered with a similar fate to mine. Wow, if you don't protect your children in childhood, they grow up like me, motherfuckers. Just saying. So hopefully they did a better job of protecting that child than they did for me, so the curse can just die and flounder forever. Am I right? But, victim blaming and gaslighting, the one who was the only one that dared to stand up and be counted and say, this shit stops with me, and I'm going to be the truth speaker in the family, and I'm going to highlight the problem here and draw the line in the sand. Ooh, was I well hated. And you know what? No fucking regrets. I'll live by my truth and I'll die by my truth till the day I die. It's the only wealth I have, the only honour I have, the only integrity I have. It cuts me both ways sometimes. Sometimes you can't win. But I like being able to lie in my bed knowing that by and large I've been a decent person and tried to do the right thing by people and love who I love and waiting to see who really loves me, and on it goes and on it goes. And well, anyway, it's an odd existence, people of Earth. But anyway, a spirit, don't know exactly who it was, said to me when I sat here, what shall I read about today? Said one word, which I immediately recognised. Lorelei. My mother was very fond of mermaids. It's a very German thing. All the rivers like the Rhine and in Hamburg, the River Elbe, and they have a great belief in mermaids or sirens. A lot of stories about sirens, especially in Greek mythology too, and even in Roman mythology. And I'm very fond of mermaids too, because got it from my mother. And someone's trying to call me with a no caller ID. They can leave a message. Don't answer. I don't answer unknown numbers. So I even have a Nagakanye on my door. I'll show her to you, people of Earth. I've got one on my door and two slightly smaller ones attached to my bedposts. Can you see her? She's a mermaid, a guardian of the underworld actually. Ironic that I call my garden, home and garden, sacred space, and I have a guardian of the underworld on my door. But anyway, she's part angel and part mermaid. Also, technically could be part serpent. So, it's no accident that Sybil came to live with me for 12 days recently. Oh. So, this house is heavily protected, spiritually speaking, and had to be, because it's my sacred space. But anyway, so someone up in the higher dimensions wanted me to read the story of the Lorelei, and I haven't got the actual fairy story. I'm just going to read what came up on the Wikipedia, so you can follow along or you can read it at your own pace. Okay, let me just check that because I did get a message now. So, the urology department. Dear Goddess. I'll just check the message and see if it was indeed then. Just bear with me one moment. Right, yes, it was indeed them, so it's all good. I don't have to freak out now. Right, so let us continue with reading about the Lorelei. Here's a photo of it. See, for someone who can't afford to travel and see the world and see all these interesting sacred spaces and sites, I have the power of the internet, or the magic of the internet. We're very lucky people of Earth. It's not the same as actually standing there and feeling the ley lines and the energies and, you know, the wind or the breeze and the aromas that flow through, and you know, on a sunny day looking at the vista on a sunny day, or on a shitty day like today looking at it. It's not the same experiential awareness. As you can see, the photos always show you on a lovely day, which is nice, because my luck, if I even got to travel there, I'd get there and it'd be cold and windy and shit, or some weather event or something not right, and you wouldn't even get to enjoy it. Waste all your money travelling to that spot. So we are lucky, we are blessed indeed that we get the best one-dimensionally view of a place. So it says, view from the left bank of the Rhine at Sankt Goar. The Lorelei. Also, are they talking about all the different spellings of Lorelei throughout history? We don't need to know about that. Is a 132 metre high, 433 foot, steep slate rock on the right bank of the River Rhine in the Rhine Gorge, or Middle Rhine, at St. Goarshausen in Germany. Part of the Upper Middle Rhine Valley UNESCO World Heritage Site. The 1930s Lorelei Amphitheatre is on top of the rock. It has been an infamous maritime disaster site since its first records during the 10th century, which was when the Vikings were travelling up and down, with a varied mythos ranging from dwarfs to a siren trying to explain the high number of shipwrecks and the loud echo inside the passageway. Etymology. Here we have a series of photographs. Aerial image of Cutts Castle and the Lorelei. It's a bit hard. So if you Google it yourself, you'll get a better view of the photo, I guess. It does look like very pretty though, doesn't it? Oh, I wish I had money and could go to all these places. But I don't. So wishing and hoping and praying is just something I have to pluck out of the ether, like my gorgeous man who adores me, you know. Anyway, it could happen one day. Miracles happen, but not very likely, given that that one that I adore is married and unavailable. But, oh dear goddess. Well, there are many forms of love, and you can love without completely fucking it up. I can see a face, looks like a face in that rock. Can't see it quite as distinctly here, but I can see it's actually two faces side by side. Let me try and put my finger on it. There. Oh, bugger. Now I've lost it. What's going on? Let me try and do it this way. Point something at it. Can you see the faces, people? I can. But I see pareidolia all the time. Two faces side by side, but almost looks like one face reflected in the laptop. But when you look at it this way, no. It's two faces side by side. Well, anyway, the Lorelei in 1900, so they would have colorised that photo. The view of the Rhine as seen from the Lorelei, so looking outwards down the River Rhine. Here's a statue of the Lorelei. My hair's starting to grow longer. Even I thanked my hairdresser. I said, thank you for not cutting too much off. She said, it's doing well, Tanya. It's getting long. I can't wait till it's that long and I can put it in a long Viking braid with all my Viking beads and just look weird and a bit alternative, but I don't mind at all. But I've just struggled to get my hair to grow long. So it's a thing, people. It's hard to be a true Viking when your hair won't grow long enough. But yeah, we're down to hair, but at the back it's getting there, people. So Lorelei, siren of Germanic mythology, of great beauty and delicious song, who was placed on a rock on the Rhine, and with her song seduced the navigators. The sculpture stands on the banks of the river on the Rhineland. The name comes from the old German words Lurrhein, Rhine dialect for murmuring, and the old German term Lei, rock. The translation of the name would therefore be murmur rock or murmuring rock. The heavy currents and a small waterfall in the area, still visible in the early 19th century, created a murmuring sound. Wonder where that waterfall went then, if it was only there till the early 1800s. Must have dried up, climate change. Well, anyway, apart from the climate change theory, it might have just dried up. The heavy currents, I've read that, sorry, and the small waterfall created a murmuring sound. And this combined with the special echo the rock produces to act as a sort of amplifier, giving the rock its name. The murmuring is hard to hear today owing to the urbanisation of the area. That would be right. Ruins everything. People ruin everything, people of Earth. That's why I live in my world, not in yours. You're welcome to my world anytime you like, but you can't stay. Get your own world. I'm joking about that. I'm joking. But, I don't live in your world. I do live in mine. My world, the weather's always lovely. People are always kind and respectful. And treat me with honour, joy and delight, and are always happy to see me. And but don't invade my boundaries. And in my world, I'm deeply loved by a wonderful man who adores me and is actually available to me, of my choosing, people of Earth. Not that I always choose all that well, to be frank. Historically, I chose very poorly indeed. But it's important to me to have my own choices and my own agency, especially when it comes to my sex life, which is non-existent. But if I'm going to emblazon that majestic, energetic outpouring, it has to be with the one who adores me and is respectful of me. Otherwise, fuck that shit. Seriously. Other theories attribute the name to the many boating accidents on the rock by combining the German verb lauern, to lurk, lie in wait, with the same ley ending, with the translation lurking rock. It almost implies that the rock is alive and liable to burst into some kind of life form at any given moment, doesn't it? Lurking, murmuring as if it has a life force of its own, communicating with those with eyes to see and ears to hear. After the German spelling reform of 1901, in almost all German terms, the letter Y was changed to the letter I, which is odd because in Germany my name is spelt, in English my name is spelt Tanya, can be spelt with an I, but I spell it with a Y. But when I went to Germany as a child, my mother bought me a t-shirt with Asterix, not Asterix. Yes, that was the name of that cartoon character. The one, the Gauls and Roman times, Asterix and Obelisk or over something. I can't remember. Dear goddess, I'm getting old. But anyway, I had that cartoon character on it. But when they wrote my name with a J. So in Germany they spell my name with a J. But here they're saying Y was changed to I. They must have changed it again. But maybe not in the terms, maybe not with the word ending with Y. That might be what it is. Because Tanya is in the middle of the word, the Y. Anyway, I'm just pondering about that, people of Earth, as I sometimes do. Anyway, I had a slightly better night with my sleep apnea. I only stopped breathing 3.8 times, so almost 4 times per hour, which is better than the almost 7 times a few nights ago. So it's sliding back into some kind of equilibrium again. I'm wondering if it's the 3 Jack Daniels on the Friday night, because I cut back from 4 or 5. I wonder if it's the alcohol that's triggering my sleep apnea to just escalate out of fucking control for the next few days, or if it's just coincidence. I'll have to keep monitoring it. If I have to, I'll have to cut out alcohol completely, which quite frankly I was supposed to a long time ago because of the effect it can have on my fatty liver, but which is not alcohol related but food related, but the alcohol doesn't help. So I'm wondering, maybe I'll just cut back to 2 drinks on this Friday and see how I go. And I like to have a drink, an alcoholic drink while I'm doing my wild dance, because it's innovating and grounding, kind of comforting. Sometimes I'm surrounded by fucking idiots trying to predate on me. Trust me, I need a drink. But anyway, I'll see. I may have to cut back because the sleep apnea thing is starting to form a bit of a pattern here. It's either that, the alcohol, or it's the frenetic dancing is actually too much for my whatever mechanism shuts off my breathing. It might aggravate it too. But I want to keep dancing until I die, people of Earth, because I derive enjoyment from it. And in other ways it's very healing, especially creatively and mentally. So it's a double-edged sword. It knocks me off my perch for a few days physically, but mentally and creatively and spiritually it builds me up. So I'll have to do according to my own will and gnosis, I think. Carry on. Soldier on. Anyway, here's a wonderful fountain. The Lorelei Fountain by Ernst Herter, a Heinrich Heine memorial in the Bronx in New York City. That's how famous the Lorelei is. She even made it to the Bronx. It's very beautiful. The rock and the murmur it creates have inspired various tales, which I was hoping to read that as an actual fairy story, but I couldn't find it. But it's here somewhere on the internet. Just have to dig for it, I guess. An old legend envisioned dwarfs living in caves in the rock, which would explain why they named it things that sound like it's alive and speaking, lurking or murmuring, like it had life forms in it. One never knows, do we? Being interdimensional may very well have fae living inside it or around it or under the Rhine or underground. All things are possible. Under the as above is so below, as below so above, as they say. Forgot to put my bloody bins out, my garbage man's going past, but anyway, next week. I don't have a lot of rubbish, so it's not a tragedy, just a mild annoyance. Right, where were we? In 1801, German author Clemens Brentano composed his ballad Zu Bacharach am Rheine as part of a fragmentary continuation of his novel Godwin oder das steinerne Bild der Mutter. It first told the story of an enchanting woman associated with the rock. In the poem, the beautiful Lorelei, betrayed by her sweetheart, we know how that goes, is accused of bewitching men and causing their death. Rather than sentence her to death, the bishop consigns her to a nunnery. On the way thereto, accompanied by 3 knights, she comes to the Lorelei rock. She asks permission to climb it and view the Rhine once again. She does so, and, thinking that she sees her love in the Rhine, falls to her death, the rock ever afterward retaining an echo of her name. Brentano had taken inspiration from Ovid and the Echo myth, 1801. In 1824, Heinrich Heine seized on and adapted Brentano's theme in one of his most famous poems, Die Lorelei. It describes the eponymous female as a sort of siren who, sitting on the cliff above the Rhine and combing her golden hair, unwittingly distracted shipmen with her beauty and song, causing them to crash on the rocks. In 1837, Heine's lyrics were set to music by Friedrich Zilcher in the art song Lorelei, that became well known in German-speaking lands. It's probably where my mother was so obsessed with that. She was probably raised. My grandparents were friends of opera singers, so she probably heard it sung frequently during her childhood, or they spoke of it regularly, or it must have been a big influence in her life, because she often spoke about the Lorelei, the mermaids. She even said that there were, Lorelei or mermaids in the River Elbe in Hamburg as well. I don't know whether she made that up though, because my mother could be, a bit hyperbolative at times, but we could check later and find out. I'm sure if there's a Lorelei in the Rhine, there's probably mermaids elsewhere too, because why not? A setting by Franz Liszt was also favoured, and dozens of other musicians have set the poem to music. During the Nazi regime and World War II, Heinrich Heine, born as a Jew, became discredited as author of the lyrics in an effort to dismiss and hide Jewish contribution to German art. Isn't that a disgrace? It's just a fucking disgrace to rewrite or cancel culture, someone's identity and history and religion just based on you don't like Jews. Fucking Egypts. Fucking Egypts. Fucking Nazis. They're just knuckle dragging fucking Egypts. But anyway, that's just my opinion on it. Anyway. Lorelei also appears in the poem Waldesgespräch, which appears as a dialogue in Joseph von Eichendorff's first novel, Ahnung und Gegenwart, 1812. That poem was set by Robert Schumann in his Liederkreis, Oper 39, 39. The Lorelei character, although originally imagined by Brentano, so that's interesting. She's a fairly modern creation. Pardon me. Passed into German popular culture in the form described in the Heine Zilcher song, and is commonly, but mistakenly, believed to have originated in an old folk tale. Well, I was under that delusion too, as my mother was always going on about the Lorelei. She didn't tell me that it was a new invention. Dear goddess. And it would have been fairly new during her childhood, since she was born in 1927, and it was only first imagined by Brentano. What year was it again? 1801. 126 years later, she was born. I guess it would be hard to separate what was old and what was new even by then. It's amazing. Hold on to your stories, people, but try to know the source of them if you possibly can. The French writer Guillaume Apollinaire took up the theme again in his poem La Lorelei from the collection Alcools, which is later cited in Symphony No. 14, third movement of Dmitri Shostakovich. The character continues to be referenced in pop culture, such as the 1998 Eagle Eye Cherry single, When Mermaids Cry. Accidents. A barge carrying 2,400 tons of sulfuric acid capsized on the 13th of January 2011 near the Lorelei Rock, blocking traffic on one of Europe's busiest waterways. Here's some more photos of the rock. It's quite large. Can you see the ferry or watercraft going past there. Sign on the bank of the Rhine. Ice at the Lorelei in the winter of 1928-29, and my mother would have been 1 and 2. There you go. I know they mean at the end of 28, going to 29. Yeah, my mother would have been just 2 months shy of turning 2. Lorelei in fog. It's kind of magical too. There's a big barge in front of it. Ship accident near the Lorelei, January 2011. Just trying to see what they're trying to show us there. Where the ship was positioned. That would have been a difficult cleanup, all that sulfuric acid. Not good to be in the waterways. Lorelei seen from the viewpoint Maria Rue Urbar. So basically it's not really just a siren but a big rock, and the siren was invented in 1801. Disappointing, isn't it? A bit disappointed. I wanted more mermaid stories. I love mermaids. Mum too. What can I say? Maybe secretly I wish I could sing men to their deaths too. But only horrible, dishonouring men. The lovely men get to live. Just so. Let's have a look at the song When Mermaids Cry. Just wanna. I've never heard that band's name. Tolerate this ad for a moment. Remaining passenger has now been located, and we do apologize for this 2 hours delay. We will take off immediately. She was drowned in suicide, faithless lover cast aside. This is how she came to be, Lorelei of the sea. Hopes destroyed, she wanted to find certain death, peace of mind. Now you wonder, who is she, Lorelei of the sea? Many tales I've been told of sailors having died after seeing a mermaid known as Lorelei. This love that is me, she, siren of the sea. Next time that the seagulls fly, don't you cry too long. Seagulls fly, when mermaids cry, those tears won't dry. Lorelei, seagulls fly, when mermaids cry, those tears won't dry. Lorelei.
'cause I've gotta try to find some Lorelei. Make amends for what's been done, 'cause I believe that she's the one, and I will go where seagulls fly. Try to find some Lorelei.
I won't play the whole song. If you like it, you can Google it yourself and listen to it in its entirety. It's quite sweet, isn't it? The crying Lorelei. Maybe I'm craving the sea, so maybe that's why that was brought to my gnosis. Anyway, thus concludes today's reading of Even Date on the subject of the Lorelei Rock and the mermaids. What is calling you from the subterranean depths that you need to bring to full conscious experiential awareness and awakening in your own body, mind and spirit? Mine is that I've been living a kind of a Barmecide or a half lie, telling myself that I'm waiting for the one to arrive, when the actual truth is I know who the one is, just can't have him because it's not available. And he probably wouldn't want me anyway, because old lady sitting in Housing Commission on a disability pension. So I've been living in a strange kind of psychedelic dream, I guess is a polite way of putting it. And so I grieve from time to time. I go into grief mode about the fact that the gods have long denied me a true love that is meant for me, that is mine, that comes to me of his own free will and is ready, willing and able to share his life with me. It's a fantasy, people. But in the meantime, I continuously show up and dance because that is my reality, that I'm extricating out of the fantasy and separating what is real, what is possible. What is possible is that I have every right as any other soul on this planet to dance, live my best life, enjoy every moment and love the ones I love, my true friends, my sweethearts, my gorgeous ones, and be in love with the one I'm in love with, even though, it's not likely to ever be fulfilled in any real way. And I'm okay with that, because respect and honour and integrity, including not just for my body, mind and spirit, but when you really love people, you respect their situations too, and you don't shit on it and you don't try to destroy it, because that's not cricket, people of Earth. And sometimes you have to ride a very fine line of, as my shaman friend advised me some years ago, he said, you'll find a way to be together, but you have to hold on while let go. And those are really the only two messages he gave me, and they didn't make a lot of sense at the time, because I didn't know who that man was, actually, that is present in my life in this rather unusual way. I didn't know who that man was back in that time, because I was actually looking at someone else that had caused me a great deal of distress and emotional harm, and kind of a form of torture, to be honest. So I wasn't really seeing clearly who was flowing real love to me and being very protective and soul nourishing. And that person, although he's not available to me sexually or romantically because of his situation, has created a beautiful space for me to join in, be accepted and dance. And that was a most beautiful gift he gave me, and probably the deepest act of love any man has ever given me. The act of acceptance and including me, and even manifesting that I'm treated like a VIP. So those of you who watch my videos probably guess who I'm talking about here. The love is real. It's been there for quite some time, although it took me a while to realise it. I can be a bit slow on the uptake. But I protect it in my videos. Every time I say, oh, I'm waiting for the one, and, true love and could happen one day, and I'm acting as if I'm shunting this beautiful love aside. I'm doing that to protect that person and their situation. And also, I guess, to protect my own self, because I don't want to be the other woman in a triangular type relationship. It's not how I roll. I need my own man who adores me. If it's going to turn sexual, one day will have to be a man who chooses me and only me. I'm not a polyamorous, and I don't like triangulated relationships where there's two or more women involved, or vice versa, being in love with two or more men at any given time. I've often had a history in my life of having two men in my life at any given time, but one was always a stable sexual partner, and one was always my beautiful friend Jared, who's always remained platonic. So I guess if I take a lover again down the track, I will always cleave to and cherish and hold precious my friend and brother Jared, and that man, my lover, will have to accept that Jared is my family and try to alleviate any insecurities or jealousies, because that was a problem in the past when I had the relationship I had with Courtney. He was very jealous. There's nothing to be jealous of. Jared and I have never even ever kissed. There was never a sexual component to our connection at all. But we did love each other very deeply when we were young. My marriage imploded as it needed to do, because it was not a good marriage. But there was never anything sexual, and it's kind of ironic that at this late phase of my life, pushing 60, that I have a few men from the music scene flowing immense love to me, platonically and agape, and one or two of them flirt with me occasionally, and it's kind of okay. It's innovating and it makes me feel desirable. But I only welcome flirting from those men I know well and have danced for many years, and I know are trustworthy, because we might stir each other up a bit, but they go home to their wives and sweethearts, and I go home alone. And sometimes it grinds my gears. Yes, let's be real here, because the heart wants what the heart wants, but the heart also knows it can't sustain another cruel, sadistic, superficial, not real, callow, false love affair ever again. So then I move into the Tanya warrior goddess mode, and I arc up a bit and I say no to things that I don't think are very honouring of me. And so maybe I make a rod from my own back by arcing up occasionally, but boundaries, people, boundaries. I love my friends, all of my friends, including my women friends, but don't matchmake me. Don't manipulate my heart, my emotions. If you want to be in my life, tell me so in a manner that is certain, cannot be confused or misinterpreted, with words, with energy, with intentions. Show me that you're real, but communicate it to me. And don't play games. Don't play games. It's that simple and it's that complicated. But anyway, on we go. I'll be out dancing on Friday night, as I do every Friday night, even though it gets a bit weird in the club round about Christmas. The Christmas period can be a bit odd. You know, not just the club I go to, but all the scene can get a bit odd at Christmas. Used to be like that at the Live Wire Bar at the casino for the 12 years I danced there. Christmas is a very odd season. It brings all sorts of raw, emotional things to the fore and triggers about love and am I wanted and am I accepted and am I welcome, am I respected, am I even needed there. I get like that at Christmas time, and I'm sure many other of the revellers that go out are going through similar things, because Christmas is a very stressful time in most people's life. In Brisbane here, it comes at the end of the year when everyone's who works are tired from working hard all year and looking forward to a break, and then it's combined with an intense, extreme heat of summer, and then the pressures of, putting on Christmas parties and dealing with family. Everyone's nerves just starts to unravel. Just why I avoid it, because coming from my abusive background, it's not something that I need to participate in. I don't enjoy it, and it's not my religion, so why would I put myself through all of that? But I still have the residual effects of everyone else's kind of off-gassing at this time of year. Anyway, the subterranean depths can only hide so long before you hear the echo and the murmuring and the whispers, and the whispers eventually become a loud banshee scream or a siren song. And if you're wise, like Ulysses or Odysseus, you tie yourself to the fucking mast and you clap your ears and you blindfold your eyes and you don't participate in the madness all around us. So, just my thoughts for this morning. Bit heavy, bit deep, but it is what it is. Have a beautiful day wherever you are in the space-time continuum, people of Earth, and many blessings to you all. And I shall be back, no doubt, maybe even later on today, with another story, probably an actual fairy story this time, but The Lorelei wanted to be remembered and honoured and spoken of, so there is that. She might be an invention, but she's an egregore now that demands to be remembered. So, bye to you all. Take good care. Be of good cheer.